Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Mundo's news program. I'm recording this on July 19th, 2023. I'm your host, Mundo Carrillo. I hope you guys are doing well. It's freaking hot, man. It's still freaking hot. I know I opened with that last week, but nothing's really changed there. So gotta have my fan on again. I apologize for the background noise, but if I don't have it on, I'll probably die. So anyhow, yeah, we're all kind of feeling this heat, aren't we? At least everyone in the northern part of the globe is, anyhow. In America, the southern part of the country is really feeling it. People in Phoenix are particularly feeling it. It's getting really hot over there. Their lows are in the 90s. In the 90s, guys. It doesn't get any cooler than like 90 degrees ever over there. They've had a lot of consecutive days of plus 100 degree weather. In fact, today, ABC 15 meteorologist Jorge Torres tweeted that Wednesday, Phoenix had the highest ever recorded average temperature at 108 degrees. So that's average temperature. That's all the temperatures taken throughout the day. Yikes. Yikes. Firefighters in Phoenix, medical personnel, have actually been strained as well from the heat. They've had to rescue a lot of people suffering medical emergencies from the extreme heat. And as a result, that's also put a strain on hospitals in the Phoenix area. Even Albuquerque in New Mexico is kind of feeling that in the emergency rooms. The heat can really do a number on you. Heat exhaustion is a real thing. Happens to athletes quite often. Yeah, so everyone stay cool out there. Even in Europe too, man. Looks like my European friends are burning up. In Southern Europe in particular. I didn't know this, but I was just looking into the extreme heat thing, and apparently last year over 60,000 people in Europe died from heat waves. That's crazy. That's a lot of people, dude. I mean, I'm sure it's not pleasant to die from heat, so it sounds really terrible. A lot of those countries apparently don't have air conditioning. They didn't really need it from the sounds of it. I know it's a luxury, that we take for granted. I'm taking it for granted now. I don't have air conditioning and I'm dying. So I hope not too many people die. I mean, the thing that sucks is like you can't really get away from it unless you have air conditioning. But other than that, you just can't get away from the heat. It sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else to say other than hotter than a motherfucker. Guys, I think you know the problem where you can start smelling your own balls. Oh man, what is going on here? What is going on? Let's move on. Let's just move right along, shall we? Let's move on to Donald Trump. He says that he is now the target of an investigation into overturning the 2020 election. He may or may not be indicted soon. What he got, I think, was a target letter, what's called a target letter. Basically, it's the prosecutors, in this case, the U.S. Attorney's Office. A lot of times it could be just your local district attorney's office, state general attorney's, attorney general's office, whatever. Anyways, they send you a letter letting you know that you're the target of an investigation, and they might bring you to a grand jury soon for an indictment. So this does not mean that Donald Trump has been charged with anything regarding the 2020 election. It just means that he might get charged for interfering with the 2020 election. The target letter, it's also to inform you of your opportunity to appear at that grand jury hearing. You don't have to. A lot of people don't even show up as a defendant, like with their lawyer or whatever. They just kind of let the state or the federal government do their thing, Go ahead. Try your best shot. Convince these people that I committed a crime. And a lot of times they do. It's a secret proceeding, so you can't sit in. You can't, you don't really know what's going on until after it happens, really, when an indictment is filed. But usually the prosecutors just put on, I guess, like a presentation to the grand jury. It's basically a jury. It's a pool of just regular people, and they give them this presentation. Do you think a crime has been committed? The bar is generally low. It's basically like, do you think a crime possibly was committed here? If yes, then they're indicted, and then it goes through the court process. But as of right now, through Donald Trump's own words, he is the target of a investigation into interfering with the 2020 election. He is also being investigated at a state level in Georgia for the same thing. no word yet on if or when charges will be filed in that case. So he's facing a bit of legal troubles right now. The whole Stormy Daniels deal. What else? Oh, taking the secret documents. A lot of stacking up them legal fees. But he's rich. I'm sure he's fine, but it's a lot of money. Anyhow, that's that. There's not much more to say on that. Obviously, if there is an indictment, that'll be big news. So we'll know about that for sure. But as of right now, it's up in the air. All right. So I think the most interesting thing to happen this week, other than the extreme heat and smelling my own balls, is that the Las Vegas Police Department has confirmed that a search warrant has been served at a residence in the Las Vegas area for Tupac Shakur's killing. That's crazy. So many years after the fact. They haven't said much else other than that, other than a search warrant was served. We don't know what was gathered. Basically don't know anything. That's a big break in the case because it happened in September 7th of 1996. Tupac was riding Shotty. And that's a probably bad choice of words. I apologize. He was sitting in the passenger seat with Suge Knight, the infamous Suge Knight, the owner of Death Row Records. They were getting out of a Mike Tyson fight, and they were driving around Las Vegas near the Strip, and a white Cadillac pulled up on the passenger side and started opening fire. Tupac was hit 4 times, and he died at a hospital 6 days later. He was only 25 years old, which I didn't know, actually. Surprisingly, I didn't know that until I started researching this story. He seemed like he was maybe like 30. I mean, he just seemed a lot older than 25. I mean, he had put out 5 albums already. He was a very, 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 very busy 25-year-old. It's like kind of the butt of the joke, right? Like he keeps coming out with music even after he died, like that Chappelle Show sketch. Anyway, no arrests were ever made. The investigation stalled because witnesses would not cooperate with the police. The shooting came amid the whole East Coast, West Coast rap beef thing. Tupac, a couple years earlier, had actually been shot during a robbery in New York City, and he had always blamed the notorious Big IG, or not blamed, but he always suspected that Biggie had something to do with it. And it's unfortunate because the two were actually good friends before that. And just researching the shooting itself, I don't know, it seems like maybe Suge Knight was almost a target. It involved a like something with the gang that he was involved with. It kind of involved that, like there was a brawl prior to the shooting, and maybe it was retaliation or something like that. I don't know, but who knows if Tupac was even the target. Suge Knight got hit in the head with fragmentation. He didn't get hit with a bullet, but he was injured, went to the hospital and all that. But yeah, it's crazy. Never solved. No nothing. So like, not even Suge Knight's people cooperated with the police. That's how that's how hardcore these dudes are. Would expect nothing less from Death Row Records. So it's all good. But anyways, we'll see what comes of this. This is super interesting if they could somehow file charges in this case, given that it's so old. It kind of surprised me because it didn't seem like it was served in Henderson, and I think it's pretty much like a suburb of Vegas, right? So that means that if this person was involved in the shooting in any way, they didn't go very far. Like they didn't flee or anything like that. They just kind of stayed nearby, hiding in plain sight, as it were. So yeah, very interesting. I will surely have an update on this. If they file charges, that's crazy. That'll be one of the great cases of all time, I think, at least in modern history. Tupac, of course, one of the greatest rappers of all time. Personally, I think Biggie Smalls kind of edges him out a little, but Tupac is probably number 2. He's great. There's no doubt that he's great. There's also a bunch of conspiracy theories that he's still alive. That's been going on forever. He's not alive. Sorry to burst the bubble there. He's not alive. I think those have kind of tampered down. I think that was more like the late 90s kind of thing with all these theories that he was still alive. I think people have accepted it. Yeah, and he's great, man. There are a few songs that I absolutely love. All About You, How Do You Want It, Keep Your Head Up, and Hit 'Em Up, which of course, that one goes after Biggie pretty hard. So they had a big time beef, the whole East Coast, West Coast thing. I was pretty young when this all went down. In fact, I don't even remember the Tupac's death. I was 8 at the time, so I wasn't paying attention. I don't remember that at all. But I do remember the whole East Coast, West Coast thing in the late 90s going about itself. And yeah, that seems to have tampered down as well. I know there are still, beef is like a big part of hip hop, it seems like. It's just, you're always just going to talk shit about other rappers. You're the best rapper alive. Everyone else sucks kind of thing. That's just a part of it. But it didn't seem like it's as prevalent as it used to be. Okay, guys, I think that is all for this week. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you to the Patreon supporters, Daniel, Tony, Andres, and Emily. Really appreciate you guys. If you guys want to support me, head over to patreon.com/Mundo's News Program. All right, folks, until next time, my name is Mundo, and I'm out. Peace.